G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. How are we all doing on this frosty evening? And I say frosty like it's icy, but it's not icy. We don't really have that issue here in Australia. But it is a little wee bit nippy. And thus it has given me a good idea to make a new video today. And that is, how do we as riders deal with the cold, and how there's other ways to deal with it. You know what I mean? Okay. What are the ways to deal with the cold is basically what I'm saying, mate. You understand? Basically, every rider knows this, that when you ride, there's a few days or months in the year where it gets a little uncomfortable, where the jigsaw bros even have to put a jacket on, because riding in a t-shirt and shorts, well, it starts to sting almost, you know what I mean? So there's a few techniques you can do to get out of the cold in the more traditional sense, and one of them is just don't ride in the cold. But if you know anything about me, the only thing that stops me is heavy rain. Yeah. Riding is meant to be done in all kinds of conditions, even the more uncomfortable ones. But there's a million ways you can escape said cold. The first would be just rug up more and more. Now, if you're not wearing your biker gear, your standard biker gear, even the summer gear, will be warmer than your standard jackets that you can buy from, like, you know, your Coles. Oh, the Coles even sell clothes. You know, Kmart or Walmart, whatever the hell is your local place, Target, something like that, you know what I mean? So, first of all, buying bike-appropriate gear will always be warmer than non-appropriate gear. If you want to take it a step further and you don't have proper winter gear, but you do have wet weather gear, this is a very common piece of advice in my Discord, that is to wear your wet weather gear, alright? Chuck on your wet weather gear and you'll be substantially warmer than just wearing your summer gear, because it's almost like wet weather gear stops you from getting into the, you know, stops the wind getting in, because it's waterproof. And if it's, well, even if it's not waterproof, you know what I mean, at least it gets it through the system. I really hope that guy wasn't waving at me, because I was too focused on talking to get the motovloggy signature salute out. But that's alright, all things happen. Eventually we'll get to that level of modality and brain function. Right now it's not happening. I'm having a moment. One very underrated piece of gear, which we don't typically need so much in Australia, maybe if you're living out in more rural areas, is heated soles for your shoes. They are so underutilized in the biking world, but heated soles make a big difference when your feet get cold. Now, your feet might take a while to get cold compared to everything else. Oh, I have an itchy eyebrow. But if your feet are cold, you're going to feel cold. Much like how when your hands finally, you know, freeze over, you start to feel it. Heated soles, man, it's a good little thing to get. I would recommend them. You can get heated clothing, but I don't know, man. I feel like heated clothing, its battery only lasts so long. If you're commuting and you don't find it too bulky, absolutely go for it. I don't see any downside to doing such a thing, because, well, the idea of heated clothing is to be a toasty boy or girl, and, well, by golly, that's one way to do it. Now, one that everybody knows is heated grips, alright? Can't go wrong with heated grips. But heated grips, well, your hand will be toasty, but the outside of your hand will be cold still, alright? But it is a fantastic addition, and there's a reason why a lot of bikes come with them these days. So I'd absolutely recommend it. You don't need to have grips that start being a million degrees if you're living in Australia more than other places, but it's nice to have, and once you finally start using them, I guarantee you'll never go back to them. I don't have them, and I regret not doing it, but they don't look very nice on my bike. So if you can get a new bike that comes with them that don't look ridiculous, like, I know the Triumph grips don't look outrageous on their new bikes. They look kind of like the stock grips, whereas the Oxford grips look kind of ugly. Sorry, Oxford. I know you're a crowd favourite, but once again, they don't look very nice. But I would recommend getting them regardless, because once you've really experienced that toastiness, it's hard to go back, because everybody loves a bit of warmth, you know. Now, if you're living in a cold climate, I feel like this is a necessity on every bike, so you probably already have them installed. But one way you can go even a step beyond that is heated gloves. Now, there's two kinds of heated gloves, all right? There's the kind that I don't recommend, and then there's the kind I do recommend. If you're going to go down the path of heated gloves, there's the kind that you wire directly into the motorbike battery, which is a little bit sketch in my opinion. Not because of anything it's inherently bad, but you can forget about it. You might pull them really hard and damage them, or if you have an accident, God forbid, you're going to yank that shit out of the bike and break it anyway. Or you could buy heated gloves that just have a battery power. Now, the downside of that one, obviously being battery powered, means it doesn't last as long. But I don't care. I'd rather have no tether to the motorcycle. You know what I mean? Unless they have like a quick detach system. In that case, fair enough. That's different. But if it doesn't, I don't know, man. I would just prefer to have just the battery power, and life's good. Now, this is not so much as defeating the cold, but a definite must if you're riding in the cold. And that is, I would recommend buying yourself a pin lock, because the one thing that happens when it does get cold is the fact that it's really hard to start seeing out of your visor, especially when you come to stoplights. Because when you're at stoplights, if your visor's closed, it's going to fog up. You're not going to be able to see out of it until you start riding. And if you're in the cold for too long and your visor gets really cold, it's not going to defrost for a little bit. So having a little pin lock on there does help. Now look, the pin locks can fog up at a stoplight, but they do defrost really easily. So short little tip, would recommend it. Once I've done it, never look back. Easy done. Oh, here's a fun tip. This one's for the boys that can do it. Grow a beard. Every time I shave my beard in the winter, I realise the mistake I've made as I go down the road and my face stings for the first little bit of it, because, well, that windshield will be cold, man, and once you have a beard, it sort of defends that. But once you have the beard, oh, you don't think about it. Once you shave, oh boy, you feel that windshield start to burn. But yeah, I'm sorry, girls, you can't do that one. You can get a neck mask, like a ski mask thing or a little skivvy thing. Very, very good idea. Essentially the same principle as shaving, as not shaving, but it's removable at any point. So if you do like your clean shaven face, or you can't grow a beard, or you are a girl, get yourself a little neck cover or the one that goes all the way up the face, or a balaclava, something like that, because they are actually fantastic. You can get really thin ones these days, the thermal kinding ones, and they're great. Thermals are phenomenal pieces of kit in winter, not just for your neck, but full body. All right, wear some thermals. They are good little things. Wind-breaking stuff, great idea. All right, this next little tip, baby, is a little bit unorthodox, but if you have the right kind of gloves, you can pull it off. If you don't, I wouldn't recommend it because you can melt them. But if you have fully leather gloves that aren't covered in plastic or nylon-y things, absolutely just pull over your motorcycle and just hands on the exhaust, baby. I used to do this with my other gloves, the really fat ones you've seen me ride with numerous times. Just pull over, shove your hands right on the exhaust and feel that warmth, because god damn, it helps. Now, we've had the coldest few days we've had in Melbourne in the last few years, and I can assure you that doing that will toast you up quite a bit. Now, this one's a little bit subjective because you can't always do it, but if you can afford it, or if you have the option, ride a bike with fairings, because it blocks the wind, and I can tell you, when there's no wind, there is no wind chill. Now, the faired bikes tend to be a little bit warmer as well, because it keeps all the heat trapped in, so there's that benefit too. But if you have a naked bike, when you're pulled over or you're just waiting at the set of lights, put your hands near the engine bay, because you can feel that engine warmth, and it makes a huge difference to your hands if you can feel that warmth coming in, because all it takes is once for the gloves to heat up, and then you've got a little bit of time to enjoy that warmth, and I can assure you that makes a difference. Oh, my dad's over there. He didn't look at me. How dare he? How rude. Oh, I'm going to make sure I mention that later. But yeah, absolutely, put yourself near the engine bay with your gloves on, of course, and it will make a tremendous difference. But ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want to ride in the cold, there's nothing wrong with that. I'll just laugh at you. But of course, sometimes just being in a nice heated car is the way to go. But that's all of my fancy little tips and tricks. Rug up, wear gear, wet weather gear if you can't have cold weather gear, heated grips, heated gloves, heated soles, heated clothing, thermals, touch the exhaust if you need to, get a pin lock. If you have fairings, use them. A windshield that works just as well in some cases, especially the bigger ones. Just get that wind off you, and I can assure you, once there's less wind, you will not feel as uncomfortable. But besides all those, I don't know what else to tell you. Because once you're out of the wind bubble, once you've got the right gear, there's not too much else we can do to help besides, well, just pray that it's not going to get too cold, because you don't want it to be freezing when you start riding around. I need to get in this lane quickly. Hello, I'm just going to sneak my ass over here. Oh, this worked out so well, because I need to be in this lane anyway. To turn. Sneak our way right up to the front. Don't worry, kids, it's legal in my country to do that. Man, I've got a lot of comments from people complaining that I lane filter. I was like, brother, there are more places in the world than your state that allow this thing. Please, calm down. Although a very common comment I get is that I'm driving on the wrong side of the road. Like, calm down, Chief. Jesus Christ, we drive on the left side here. It's the correct side of the road, so right is not always right. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have time for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. But take it easy, keep it cheesy, like and subscribe, and join the Discord. Otherwise, have a good day. Peace. Bye.